It's in Warren County. It's a 6.7 mile stretch.
It's a 6.7 mile road.
Yeah. It's, Alamucci, and it's, Jenny Jump State Forest, which is, I guess, that's where the legend comes from, because, Jenny jumped.
So Jenny's an Indian name. That must be Lenny Lenape.
It could be. There's Ghost Lake. Yeah, it is the Lenape Lane.
Okay, yeah, I know my New Jersey Indians.
Yeah. Yeah, there's some stuff around here. I did see a UFO here in Burlington, though.
Yeah, tell us about
It
that.
was when I first bought the house here, like 15 years ago, and I went outside. I smoked back then. I don't anymore. I quit. But I've never smoked in my house, and I went outside. I was only here for probably like 6 months, and I say UFO because I couldn't identify it. It was flying, and it was an object. I do know there's a military base over here, so I'm not entirely sure what I saw, but I went out on the porch. It wasn't late. It was probably like 10 o'clock at night, and went out to have a smoke, lit up a cigarette, and I looked up over the trees. I have a lot of trees. I'm like surrounded by kind of woods and stuff, and I saw this shape, like almost like a boomerang, and it was floating silent over the trees, and it was low enough where I could see all like running lights and everything inside of it. And then I'm always a skeptic. I'm like, what the hell is that? So I like kind of flick my cigarette, and I walk out onto the walkway, and it was completely over me now, and it was like just kind of hovering there, and I got weirdly tired, like all of a sudden, like it wasn't like, it didn't feel like normal me. It felt like I was kind of like drugged, which was really bizarre because I don't do anything like that. And then all of a sudden I went, and it just took off, and then it went like super fast, but I remember seeing lights inside of it. So I don't know what it is. It could have been from the military base, but it was soundless. It was hovering. It was in the air. I couldn't identify it. So for me, that's a UFO.
And what
It wasn't
military...
Sorry, Paul. Yeah, what military base is that?
I'm in like South Jersey, so you think I know the name of the military base over here, but there's a big military base. I know, I'm such a disgrace.
Fort Dix?
Yes, thank you.
Okay.
Listen, I've been up since 4:30 this morning. It's now 9 o'clock at night, and I've yet to eat dinner.
So I know like a year or two ago, weren't they having all those sightings all over New Jersey? Even my parents saw some things that were Ocean County and that type of stuff.
Yeah, there were like drones. People kept saying they were drones, but they were too big to be drones.
Yeah, like size of Volkswagens, things like that.
Mm-hmm. But whatever was flying around here, it was completely quiet, and it was definitely and it was enormous. It was an enormous, like, boomerang-shaped thing. I don't know what it was.
That fits with a lot of the UFO sightings that they show, like footage of over Mexico and Arizona, those big triangular shapes.
That's what it was. Yep.
That's very cool.
And I was wide awake. It wasn't like I was sleeping. I walked out of my house, lit a cigarette, was sitting outside on the porch, and this thing was just over the trees, so kind of like, this is interesting. Great! Haunted house with UFOs. What else could go wrong?
Did you ever hear about the Pineys?
Yes. The little people?
Oh, well, that's the different thing. So there's the Pineys are the ones, if you're out on like Route 70, you definitely don't want to get stuck on the side of the road because, the Pineys live out in the Pine Barrens, but there's supposed to be like a whole town of little people. And sure enough, like my junior year of high school, my friend Wally, took us up there, and there is a town in New Jersey that was primarily little people,
Mm.
and because it became like not a real tourist attraction, but a place that people knew about, mostly teenage kids that were drawn to like, let's go see the Little People Village. That if you got caught driving through there, they would like throw bottles at your car, and like you would get attacked, like like you were Gulliver and being attacked by the little people kind of thing. I know this is not politically correct, but
Yeah, how terrible. Let's go torture these poor people who are trying to live their lives.
Yeah, New Jersey's a strange place.
Yeah, it is. There's a lot of weird stuff going on over here.
I don't want to dominate the whole hour. What else you guys got?
Steve?
Is that Dunkin' Donuts still on Route 9 in Burlington?
Oh, 9. In Burlington? Route 130?
I don't know. I just remember decades ago, a buddy of mine and I were driving through late at night on Route 9, I think it was, through
Okay.
Vermont, and we stopped at a Dunkin' Donuts.
There's probably 52 billion Dunkin' Donuts on that route now.
That's probably still there. Okay, that's good to know.
That was your big experience.
That was my big experience going through
Wow.
Vermont.
Well, the best Dunkin' Donuts are in New Jersey, and if you go outside of New Jersey, it's not the same.
It's not the same.
Now, when I was in Boston, I saw a lot of Dunkin' Donuts over there. And at one of these Dunkin' Donuts in Boston, I told the lady that on my Americana, I wanted some cream and sugar in there. And she...
Americana?
Yeah, yes.
You ordered an Americana at Dunkin' Donuts? You Californian.
And she
I don't
actually...
even know what that
She
is.
actually walked over to my booth and says, I'll do it this time, put the cream and sugar, but Americanas, they don't have cream and sugar. What are you talking about? I mean, I go to Starbucks all the time, and Americana, there's cream and sugar. So why did she say that?
Because Starbucks has screwed up the world of coffee. The whole venti and all that other crap, none of that means anything. That is all just garbage they made up. You go to Italy, none of that really means what they say it means. And when you go to Dunkin' Donuts, you just order coffee. And then you walk around and you put whatever you want in it yourself. That's the way Dunkin' Donuts works. That's the way it's always worked. And it has the best coffee. And you grab a donut and you sit down and you enjoy yourself. You don't order an Americana. They only have one kind of coffee, or two types, decaf or regular. That's it. They didn't even have espresso. There was no espresso growing up. You wanted espresso, you had to go to my Italian grandmother's house, and that was it. Oh my God, that is a California thing. Let me get an Americano. And Dunkin' Donuts. Wow.
Well, I don't know what an Americano is.
It's a California thing.
It is a California thing. Jay, don't worry about it, okay?
I lived out there for years. I don't know, but I don't drink coffee, so.
Yeah.
That's why if you go to Starbucks, you can't just order coffee. You have to learn like the Starbucks lingo or code. It's just that's why I hate Starbucks, and I was always confused as hell when I went in there. I'm like, can't I just get a cup of coffee? They're like, no. Do you want an Americano? Do you want a caramel macchiato, crapple, whatever? You know what I mean? A cup of coffee, just a cup of coffee, some cream and sugar. I'd rather go to McDonald's. I mean,
Yeah, and it's confusing because in Starbucks you order a tall, which is small, and then you got a grande, which is medium and it's still not that big, and then you have the venti, and it's about the regular size that you can get over at Dutch Brothers or whatever.
What the hell's Dutch Brothers?
Oh, Dutch
Dutch Brothers is
Brothers?
good coffee.
What's
That's
that?
Oh my
Never heard of
God!
it. It's like a little to-go stand, like a drive-through that's been getting really popular out here in some areas. It's like a drive-through. You can early in the morning go and drive by the stand. It's small. It's not like Starbucks where it's a big store, but it's more like a booth, like a giant booth of coffee.
And
But,
then
people, when you first see it, you're like Dutch Bros. Like, what is Dutch Bros? And they look at it, and but But I guess enough people start trying it now. I guess it's convenient, you know.
Alright.
And with Dutch Brothers, the lady always comes up to the car, she takes your order, and then she sticks this computer thing in your face and says, totally optional on the tip. It's like, hey, I'm already spending, what, $6 for a coffee, and then you want a tip too? What?
All those places need to get better desserts anyway. It's like a lemon pound cake and a banana cake. I mean, the same shit every time.
I don't mind tipping if I'm sitting down and I actually have a waitress, but I can't stand when I actually walk up to a counter, the person turns around and pours something and then flips the screen around like I'm supposed to give them a tip for, like, fountain drink or soda. Do I tip the person at McDonald's? I mean, the schmo at McDonald's, isn't getting a tip. But to be fair, McDonald's employees are making up to $18 an hour. And then these jerks with these, waitresses are making less, like half of minimum wage. Or was it $2 something an hour, $3 something an hour? They're still getting away with paying waitresses, and because the tip, the gratuity, which I think they should change the name of, because it's really not gratuity. It's an entitlement. Really, what it is. If you're expecting it, you're supposed to add it to the bill. Then it's not a gratuity; it's an entitlement. So the whole name of the whole thing is aggravating. So and they're getting free labor. What they're doing is they're shifting the cost of the labor down to the customer directly right there at that moment. Whereas, like I said, you could make more money at McDonald's. You get $18 an hour at McDonald's, or you can go make less than $3 an hour busting tables at a diner or some other place.
The McDonald's out here, my friend was just looking, they're starting people off at like $22 an hour.
Awesome.
From McDonald's. Don't worry, they'll be replaced by those automatic screens though.
Oh, that's
Those people at McDonald's. I mean, what they were getting paid for before they were getting paid like these big bucks. I mean, every 30 minutes you got a timer, you got a sweep, you got a mop. I mean, and they check. You can't just throw the food away. And then they tell you, on your break, do you want to eat that food? It's like, and people, if you're working there, I mean, it's like double when you weren't making that much and you were eating crappy food. But the thing of it is the way they have you mop, sweep, check all the timers, and it's not always easy. It's like kind of like driving work, so they need to pay them something, but
right.
It's still, some people have been working like 20 years and don't get paid that much. That's not fair.
That's
I wasn't saying they're being overpaid. I think I'm glad. I think they should be paid at least that much. I worked 3 days at a KFC once when I was a teenager. I lasted 3 days. My friend lasted 1 day, and he walked out. I was nice enough to say, "You got 2 more days, and I'm out of here," because they didn't have a dishwasher like machine. They had 3 sinks, the whole 3-sink method. And I thought, oh, it's a KFC. They're not going to have a lot of dishes, right? It wasn't the dishes. It was the sheet pans. Oh my God! It was like there's never ending sheet pans over and over and over again. I was out of there. Going back to pumping gas and working in a garage or working the boardwalk in Seaside.
I did round table at McDonald's at the same time, and that was crazy. But I remember I gave up McDonald's before I did round table, and then it was a brother that owned the place, and he came to me. He says, "Hey man, like, what's wrong?" And I didn't really tell him I had 2 jobs, but I said it's too much. He said, I was just starting you at the bottom because I saw potential in you. I thought I wanted to show you the ropes from the bottom all the way up. He said, "Look where I started." So he took me in the back, and he actually started working there, and then ended up owning it. He's got a bunch of them, but like that's what they do to motivate you. But I was like, nah, I'm just not. I can't do McDonald's. It was just at the time, when you're young. But round table on McDonald's, and it was crazy. And the checks still weren't that big.
What was the best job everybody had? Let's just say ever. Because I think sometimes the teenage jobs that you had sometimes are better than the adult jobs you had. How about you, Steve? Let's start with Steve. He hasn't talked a lot.
I worked in a pet store. The Xandean's pet store. And I was the one that cleaned the dogs' cages and fed them and everything. And they were kind of, I don't know, they just treated the dogs like a commodity, and I really took care of them. I made sure they had water and food and that sort of thing. So, that was fun.
It's awesome. What about you, Paul? What's the best job you ever had?
You know, I was very fortunate because I had a lot of cool jobs. When I went into the military at the age of 18, U.S. Army, they shipped me over to Germany. I became an MP, military policeman, and then one day they were advertising. They said, we need some MPs that really are streetwise, that are cool, to work undercover narcotics with the drug suppression team, CID, Criminal Investigation Division in Germany. So I said, yeah. So I applied for it, and I was streetwise. I mean, I was living in the Bay Area, San Francisco, and everything else. So I knew my stuff. And with that job, I got to travel all over Germany. All I did was buy drugs, testified at Article 32s in court-martials, and I did that till, 1973, 1976. So, and then I was a firefighter. That was a cool job, except I almost got burned. And I got to tell you this story. There was this big fire in the Sierra Nevada mountains. And the captain tells me, he goes, Paul, he goes, get that spot fire. I said, okay. So I got the hose. I'm over there trying to get the spot fire. And I turn around, and there's flames 20 feet high. I'm going, what the? And I could feel the heat. It was like burning my face, and I could smell my hair. It's getting all crackly and stuff like that. And I said, oh my God. And the captain's yelling at me, Roberts, get in the fucking roots of the fire. I'm going, fuck you. And I threw the hose down. The hose went like this. And I got up on the fire truck. I put my arms like this. And he goes, Roberts, get off the fucking truck and get in here and fight the fire. I go, fuck you. And then after that, he goes, you're fired. Okay, fine. Take me back to the barracks. So they take me back to the barracks. He's calmed down. I'm calmed down. And he goes, Roberts, he goes, some people, this firefighting thing is just not for you. And I said, you're right. It's not for me. I mean, these guys are heroes, but I ain't going out there getting burned. I'm sorry. And it was that captain. He looked like a young Robert Redford. I went back there 5 years later. He had a burn mark on his cheek. He didn't look like Robert Redford anymore.
No, it's because you left. You got burned. It's all your fault.
Yeah. So German 21 Jump Street was your favorite job, huh?
Yep.
What's up, Jay? So what was your favorite job?
I somehow wound up running a multi-million-dollar dental lab. Yeah.
Awesome. Office manager or?
No. I started out in sales. I always kind of actually worked in dental labs, even like when I got out of school. I did work in surgery. I worked in autopsies. And then I translated the medical aspect and I went into dental. And I started out in sales. I know this sounds like boring, but I love teeth. It sounds ridiculous, but I don't know. Worked my way up in the company, and then I was one of only 4 female presidents for this huge national dental lab conglomerate. And I had 2 laboratories and tons of employees, and it was absolutely a shit show all of the time. It made me realize how many really awful dentists there are out there, because it was a high-end dental lab. And then after 20 plus years, I was like, yeah, I think I'm done. I'm just gonna go work a Joe job. So that's what I do now. But I do love the dental lab industry. It was fun.
And dentists, they scare me.
They should.
Yeah.
They should.
I had to get rid of this one dentist because he would go in there and do a deep cleansing, and blood would splatter. My blood was splattering on his shirt and over on his face mask. I said, and he's getting into it. It's like, man, you're over here. You're going to kill me. Yeah, it's like.
You gotta floss, Paul. You gotta get those.
You got gum disease, Paul. That's called gum disease.
Sounds like Steve Martin in The Little Shop of Horrors.
Right.
Yeah. What about you, Xandean? What was your favorite job?
I mean, it would definitely have to be. It's like the tie between, doing acting and on the sitcoms, and actually getting behind, seeing what TV is about for real. And then also, when I came back, actually, when I had kids, I was at a staffing job doing sales, like Jay, and people would always want me to sell the product, 3 steps to a sale, intro, what's so good, and then the close, get it. But like I could sell anything, but I started telling myself, man, this is like a lot of work, like, if the shit is just not a good product, or it's not something I believe in, it's just gonna be too hard. But Labor Ready, a staffing company in San Francisco, there are a lot of other places, but you could call the person, and without the auditing headaches or insurance, you could just order the person. So I was working at a place in San Francisco. It was like a high volume office. They're making like millions a year, and you basically get paid on people. So in San Francisco, Labor Ready pays work today, get paid today. Some people get paid weekly, some people get paid monthly, but a lot of people's work today, get high today. Work today, pay my bills today. You have a myriad of personnel that you have to deal with. So the trick to staffing, people want to go to the job, but you have to send the right person. So sometimes you'd have like a guy saying, "Yeah, man, I'm a carpenter. Can you send me out, on a carpenter job? I need some money." And I'm like, "Well, do you have your tools?" He's like, "No, I don't have any tools." I'm like, "Well, we get some tools. Let me know, like, what level are you? Mid-level, journeyman, whatever." So, or you have guys come in there and they say, "Hey, look, man," he throws teeth on the counter. He says, "I need some work. What are you going to do for me?" And I'm telling you, "Hey, look, Mr. Johnson, I'm calling right now. If anybody's going to get your job, it's going to be me, and I'll let you know as soon as we get something. Now, have a seat, take your teeth, and let's get back to normal." You got all kind. It's like a sitcom, but I felt I wasn't getting paid enough because I was like a prison warden. I was there in the morning. It's a 52-step process from opening and closing. That includes mopping, billing, doing your duns, your tax liens, everything. So I would do that, sun up to sundown, send the people out, dispatch them. Now to collect the money, you got to send out the right person, because if that person's not working good, your client's just not happy. She got this avalanche. So I asked the people in New York, the parent company, "Hey, can I get paid a little more? I got a child, another son coming." And they're like, "Yeah, we'll talk about it. So we never did talk about it. But meanwhile, I'm sending out like 200 people a day, at an average of like $40. I got some carpenters out, weeklies at, $80 an hour. Like, I'm billing, and I'm like, "Well, what's the money?" So Bank of America was a client I had bricked him. I just went out one day and talked to a branch manager. It was like, "Hey, you want to outsource, blah, blah, you need me, people call me." So they called one day for the people at the park where you go to sports events, where they got, try to get your information, get you to fill out a credit app. So they would order those people from us because they could get like 13 per booth. I could give them like 13 people, and all they had to do was pay me a flat rate. I did all the auditing headaches, the workers, the FICA, the workers' comp, everything. So this one company I had was super difficult. But if I sent them an invoice next 7, like a 7-day invoice of $40,000, they would pay it like on the 9th day. I had no problem collecting from them. There's other people that like big companies, they want net 45. They want you to take their account because it's so big. They want to pay you whenever they want you to be happy. But this company was big, Bank of America, and they paid it. So I was like thinking to myself, I need more money. One day he called and he was hollering, and everybody in the office, he said, "Man, that's your guy. Will you talk to him? We don't want to talk to him. This guy's, he's too overbearing, Mr. Yurkov." So I was like, "Hey, Mr. Yurkov, what's going on?" And he's like, "Listen, Xandean and I got 2 people down here drinking beer, eating peanuts. What are you going to do for me right now?" And I'm like, "Okay, Mr. Yurkov, hey, what are those gentlemen's names? I'll comp you. I'll come down there and I'll have some more gentlemen come. I'll send you the names. You let me know if their qualifications are okay." So did all that, got down to the park, smoothed it out. But I thought to myself, this guy pays $40,000 like it's nothing, and they didn't even want to service him. So I said, I think I need to get a startup company. So I started thinking to myself, what name would I want? So I thought of a Blue Hammer office that would have an icon where you just know what it is. I kind of thought of like Blue Cross. So I said, well, Blue Hammer. So I got my federal tax ID, and I was at the office one day, and he called, and they were hanging up, telling they didn't want to talk to him. And I was like, dude, do you know? I mean, we had a lot of clients, but not like that. And so I prayed on it. I said, I'm going to ask him because this could be jeopardy. It could be like I'm stealing the client. So I told him, I said, hey, Mr. Yurkov, when you call me a laborer, you're getting a laborer. But I think I have a better startup company for, people that know the 3 steps of sale, have the proper dress, more aligned with what you like. And I said, I don't know if you'd be interested. He said, Xandean, I don't give a shit if it's in Timbuktu or what the hell is it? Send it to me right now. I just said, oh shit. So I sent him my mission statement, credit references, all that, signed his shit up. I went to the bank that day, opened up that account, and what I had to do, since I didn't have the money to pay my workers that normally work with me at Labor Ready, I just told them, hey, I got extra work. I don't pay you daily, like Labor Ready, but if you want to, you can fill out an app. It takes 2 weeks, blah, blah, blah. So they filled it out and gave me enough time to deposit the money from Bank of America, Mr. Yurkov, and start my own staffing. So what I was doing, had Labor Ready. I might have 10 people out for them, and then have 30 people out for me. And they were like, well, who's doing this? What is this operation? They said, well, that's Blue Hammer. And you go, well, who is Blue Hammer? And you go, well, that's Xandean. So my boss said, hey, Xandean, I want to talk to you, And I was like, oh shit, He said, I'll meet you back at the office. So I raced back to the office, and I started writing basically a resignation letter, because I really didn't want a confrontation about the account. So I just told him, hey, this opportunity served me well, but this time, like I said, I needed more money, I have to go. But he came back and he